Deep within the heart of the mist-laden Blackwood Forest, where sunlight struggled to pierce the thick canopy of ancient trees, there lurked a darkness that whispered of unspeakable horrors. This was a place untouched by time, where the shadows danced to a macabre melody, and the silence was thick with the weight of forgotten secrets. It was here, amidst the gnarled roots and twisted branches, that the legend of the Blackwood Butcher was born, a name whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to venture into the forest's depths. A group of backpackers, Eva, Jack, Maya, and Adam, set out on a journey to explore the untamed wilderness of the Blackwood Forest, their hearts filled with a sense of adventure and wonder. Little did they know they were walking straight into the jaws of darkness. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the air grew heavy with a palpable sense of foreboding. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers to ensnare the unwary. Night descended like a shroud, casting the forest into darkness as the group made camp beneath the towering trees. But as the fire crackled and the shadows danced, a chill crept into their bones, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Eva glanced nervously around the campsite, her heart pounding in her chest. The flickering flames offered little solace, only serving to deepen the jagged silhouettes that surrounded them. The distant hoot of an owl pierced through the stillness, sending shivers down Eva's spine. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her voice barely audible above the crackling of the fire. Jack looked up from sharpening his knife, his eyes scanning the darkness beyond the ring of light. "I heard it too," he replied, his voice laced with concern. "But it's probably just an animal. There's nothing out here but us and the trees." Maya shifted uncomfortably, pulling her jacket tighter around herself. "I don't know," she said, her voice filled with doubt. "This place gives me the creeps. I can't shake off this feeling that we're being watched." Adam, normally the most fearless of the group, suddenly grew pale and quiet. He stared into the distance, his eyes fixated on something only he could see. The flames of the fire seemed to flicker uneasily in response to his growing unease. "Adam, what's wrong?" Eva asked, her voice tinged with concern. She reached out to touch his arm, but he flinched away, startled. I saw something," Adam finally managed to stammer. "Out there in the darkness. It was like a fleeting shadow darting between the trees." The others exchanged worried glances, the gravity of the situation sinking in. "What do you mean? Are you sure?" Jack questioned, his voice wavering. Adam nodded solemnly. "I'm certain. It was a figure, a tall figure wearing tattered clothes, but it disappeared as quickly as it appeared." Fear enveloped their campsite like a suffocating mist. The sounds of the forest seemed to amplify, twigs snapping under an unseen weight, leaves rustling with an otherworldly presence. They huddled closer together, seeking comfort and safety in their numbers. Suddenly, a piercing scream tore through the night air, jolting them from their fear-stricken stupor. It was a sound that sent chills down their spines, causing their blood to run cold. "Eva!" Jack shouted, his voice laced with panic. He jumped up, reaching for his knife and scanning the darkness frantically. But Eva was nowhere to be seen. "Where is she?" Maya cried out, her voice filled with terror. Her eyes darted around the campsite, searching desperately for any sign of their friend. Adam's heart raced as he spotted something through the trees, a glimpse of movement that sent a surge of adrenaline through his veins. Without thinking, he lunged forward and followed the fleeting shadow deeper into the forest. The others hesitated for a moment before their instincts kicked in, propelling them forward after Adam. The forest seemed to conspire against them, the trees closing in like hands, reaching out to snatch them away. The darkness deepened as they chased after Adam, their steps becoming more frantic and desperate. It felt like an eternity before they caught up to him, his labored breaths echoing in the silent night. They found themselves in a small clearing surrounded by towering trees that loomed overhead like colossal guardians of the forest. Adam, what are you doing? We have to find Ava, Jack gasped, his voice filled with urgency. Adam turned to face them, his eyes wild with a mix of fear and determination. I saw her, he panted, his voice barely above a whisper. She's in trouble. We have to save her. With renewed determination, the group pushed forward, navigating through the dense undergrowth and dodging knotted roots that threatened to trip them at every turn. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinthine heart of the forest, a sense of malevolence hung heavy in the air. The whispering shadows seemed to grow darker and more sinister, as if they were alive with some suppressed evil. The once familiar sounds of the forest had faded away, leaving an eerie silence in their wake. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the stillness, causing the group to freeze in their tracks. It was Ava's voice, filled with terror and anguish. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they rushed toward the source of the sound. Emerging from the dense foliage, they stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. There, they found Ava, trapped within a circle of ancient symbols etched into the ground. She looked at them with wide, pleading eyes, her hands pressed against an invisible barrier that prevented her escape. "Help me!" she cried, her voice laced with desperation. "Something has me trapped!" Maya gasped, her eyes widening in horror. "It's a summoning circle," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Someone has summoned a dark entity." Jack's grip tightened on his knife as he scanned the perimeter, searching for any signs of the one responsible for Eva's imprisonment. The moon cast an ethereal glow upon the clearing, revealing faint traces of a sinister ritual that had taken place. Symbols and sigils were etched into the trees and scattered across the ground, pulsating with an otherworldly energy. "We need to find a way to break the barrier," Maya said, her voice filled with determination. She circled the circle, examining it closely for any weaknesses or clues. Adam clenched his fists in frustration. "But how? We don't even know what we're up against." Just then, a haunting laughter echoed through the forest, sending shivers down their spines. The shadows seemed to twist and contort in response to that malicious sound, as if dancing to an invisible conductor's tune. A figure emerged from the darkness, a tall, mysterious figure cloaked in tattered robes. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, casting an unsettling gaze upon the captive Ava and her desperate friends. The air grew heavy with an oppressive energy as the figure approached, its steps barely audible against the forest floor. "You dare to trespass in my domain," the figure spoke, its voice dripping with a malevolence that sent chills down their spines. "You have awakened forces beyond your comprehension." Jack's grip tightened on his knife, his knuckles turning white. "Release her. Whatever you've done, let her go," he demanded, his voice filled with equal parts rage and fear. The figure merely chuckled, a sound that echoed with a sinister resonance. "I'm afraid it's too late for that," it replied, its voice laced with a wicked delight. "She is mine now." Maya's eyes darted around the clearing, searching for anything that could help them break the barrier and free their friend. Her gaze fell upon a peculiar amulet nestled among the fallen leaves. It glimmered with an eerie luminescence, drawing her attention like a moth to a flame. Maya's instincts told her that this amulet held the key to their salvation. Without a second thought, Maya snatched up the amulet and held it aloft, its radiance illuminating her determined expression. "I won't let you take her," she declared, her voice filled with newfound strength. The figure paused, its malevolent aura faltering for just a moment. "You think a mere trinket can save you?" it sneered, its voice laced with contempt. But Maya didn't waver. With unwavering resolve, she stepped forward and pressed the amulet against the invisible barrier that trapped Eva. A surge of energy crackled through the air, causing the barrier to ripple and distort. Suddenly, the figure's smug expression transformed into one of alarm. "No!" it hissed, its voice filled with frustration. "You cannot break my spell!" But Maya persisted, channeling every ounce of determination and belief into the amulet. The barrier started to weaken, cracks spiderwebbing across its surface. "No!" the figure screamed, its form flickering like a dying flame. "You cannot defy me!" As the last remnants of the barrier shattered, Ava stumbled forward, released from her prison. Jack rushed to her side, embracing her tightly as tears streamed down his face. The figure let out one final howl of defeat before dissolving into the shadows, fading away like a nightmare at dawn. Relief washed over the group as they stood in the moonlit clearing, their hearts pounding from the harrowing encounter. They knew they had narrowly escaped the clutches of a malevolent force that lurked within the depths of the forest. But their ordeal was far from over. As they caught their breath and took stock of their surroundings, they realized that they were not alone in the clearing. The eerie silence that had enveloped the forest was broken by a soft rustling of leaves, accompanied by a chorus of whispers that seemed to come from all directions. The group exchanged wary glances, their senses heightened by the residual fear that still lingered in the air. They knew that their struggle was far from over, and an even greater danger awaited them in the shadows. A figure stepped forward from behind one of the towering trees, its features obscured by a tattered cloak. It emanated an aura of ancient wisdom and power, contrasting sharply with the malevolent force they had just faced. "I am the Guardian," the figure spoke, its voice resonating with a sense of both authority and compassion. "You have stumbled upon a battle that has been fought for eons within these woods." Maya took a step forward, her hand still clutching the amulet that had shattered Eva's prison. "Who are you? And what is this battle that we've become entangled in?" she asked, her voice filled with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The Guardian's gaze softened as it regarded Maya. "I am the ancient protector of this forest," it began, its voice carrying a weight of years gone by. "There exists a delicate balance between light and darkness within these woods, an eternal struggle that shapes the destiny of those who venture here." Adam's eyes narrowed with suspicion. But why were we targeted? What did we do to deserve this? The Guardian sighed, a sound heavy with regret. "You were not specifically targeted, my young friend. This battle rages on, drawing in those who are connected to the forces at play. It is fate that has brought you here." Maya stepped forward, her grip on the amulet tightening. "Then tell us how to end this, how to restore harmony to this forest once again." The Guardian nodded slowly, as if considering their request. "To restore balance, you must embark on a quest," the Guardian explained. "There is an ancient artifact hidden deep within the heart of the forest, a relic of immense power and significance. It is said to hold the key to restoring harmony and banishing the darkness that infects these woods." Eva, still shaken from her recent ordeal, found her voice. "What do we need to do? Where do we find this artifact?" The Guardian raised a hand, gesturing towards a distant mountain peak that loomed over the forest. "To find the artifact, you must ascend Mount Solstice," it said. "But beware, for the journey ahead is treacherous and fraught with danger. The path is guarded by creatures of darkness and tests of character that will challenge you in ways unimaginable." Jack tightened his grip on his knife, determination etched into his features. "We will do whatever it takes," he declared, his steady voice reflecting his unwavering resolve. The Guardian nodded approvingly. "Very well. The path to Mount Solstice is treacherous, but if you truly possess the strength and courage needed for this quest, then I shall guide you. Follow the ancient trail that winds through the dense forest, and beware the illusions that will try to lead you astray. Stay true to your purpose, and do not let fear cloud your judgment." With renewed determination, the group set off on their journey towards Mount Solstice. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered eerie creatures lurking in the shadows, their glowing eyes filled with malice. But with each challenge they faced, their resolve grew stronger, fueled by their unwavering bond of friendship. Days turned into weeks as they traversed treacherous terrain, climbed jagged cliffs, and braved raging rivers. The forest seemed to come alive, whispering secrets and warnings in hushed voices that only they could hear. Yet they pressed on, guided by a flicker of hope that burned brightly within their hearts. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of trials and tribulations, they reached the foot of Mount Solstice, a towering monolith that pierced the sky like a sentinel guarding the secrets of the forest. As they gazed up at the imposing peak, a sense of awe and determination washed over them. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they also knew that they had come too far to turn back now. With the Guardians' guidance, they began the arduous ascent up the treacherous slopes of Mount Solstice. The air grew thin as they climbed higher and higher, their muscles burning with exertion and their spirits tested by the unforgiving terrain. But with each step they took, they drew closer to their goal, a goal that had become more than just a quest for a mystical artifact. It had become a quest for redemption, for justice, and for the restoration of balance to the Blackwood Forest. As they reached the summit of Mount Solstice, they found themselves standing before a cavernous entrance, a gateway to the heart of the mountain and the secrets it held within. With a silent exchange of nods, they stepped into the darkness, their footsteps echoing against the stone walls as they delved deeper into the unknown. The cavern was vast and labyrinthine, its walls adorned with ancient carvings and glyphs that spoke of a forgotten age. As they ventured deeper into its depths, they encountered trials that tested their courage, their wisdom, and their resolve. But they pressed on, driven by a shared purpose and a belief that they were destined to succeed. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the chamber that housed the artifact, a shimmering crystal of pure light that radiated with an otherworldly glow. With trembling hands, Maya reached out and grasped the artifact, feeling its power course through her veins like a surge of electricity. She knew that this was the key to restoring balance to the forest, to banishing the darkness that had plagued it for so long. As she held the artifact aloft, its light filled the chamber, dispelling the shadows that clung to the walls and bathing everything in its luminous embrace. And in that moment, they knew that they had succeeded, that they had fulfilled their destiny and brought hope to a world shrouded in darkness. As they emerged from the depths of Mount Solstice, they were greeted by the first light of dawn, a dawn that heralded a new beginning for the Blackwood Forest and all who dwelled within its ancient embrace. With the artifact in their possession, they returned to the forest with a newfound sense of purpose, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For they knew that as long as they stood together, they would always triumph over the forces of darkness. And as they disappeared into the depths of the forest, their laughter mingled with the whispering leaves, a testament to the enduring power of friendship, courage, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to defy the darkness. In the heart of the sprawling redwood forest, nestled amidst towering trees, a group of college friends, Alex, Olivia, Michael, and Jenna, decided to spend a weekend camping at Whispering Woods, seeking adventure and escape from the pressures of their studies. Little did they know, their idyllic retreat would soon descend into a nightmare of unspeakable horror. Unbeknownst to them, a serial killer lurked in the shadows, his presence a dark stain on the otherwise pristine landscape. Known only as the Woodsman, he had eluded capture for years, leaving a trail of mutilated bodies in his wake. As the sun began to set on their first night in Whispering Woods, a chilling wind swept through the forest, causing the leaves to rustle with an eerie intensity. The group huddled around their crackling campfire, their laughter and banter fading into a heavy silence. Unbeknownst to them, the woodsman watched from his hidden vantage point, his eyes gleaming with a sadistic hunger. Alex, always the adventurous one, suggested they play a round of truth or dare to lighten the mood. Olivia hesitated, feeling an unexplainable sense of unease, but ultimately agreed. Each turn brought nervous laughter and timid confessions until it was Jenna's turn to choose. With a mischievous grin, Jenna glanced at Michael, her eyes glimmering with a combination of excitement and apprehension. She whispered her choice into Alex's ear, and a wicked twinkle danced in his eyes as he looked back at her. Jenna took a deep breath and said, "Michael, I dare you to venture into the woods alone for 5 minutes, blindfolded." The words hung in the tense air, a heavy silence falling upon the group as they awaited Michael's response. Olivia's eyes widened with concern, her voice trembling as she spoke up. "Jenna, are you sure about this? It doesn't seem safe to send someone out there alone in the dark." Jenna shrugged, a nonchalant look on her face that masked the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "Oh, come on. Don't be such a scaredy cat. It's just a game, right?" Michael glanced nervously at the dense wall of trees surrounding them, his voice hesitant as he replied, "I'm not so sure about this, guys. It feels off." But his protest was met with a chorus of laughter and playful taunting from Alex and Jenna. Reluctantly, he agreed to take on the dare. The group watched apprehensively as Michael stood up, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the weight of the darkness pressing against him, but he didn't want to appear weak in front of his friends. With a forced smile, he allowed Alex to blindfold him tightly, blocking out all traces of light. As Michael stumbled forward, his senses heightened. The forest seemed to come alive around him. The rustling leaves became whispers. The gentle breeze turned into an eerie howl. Each step he took felt like a leap into the unknown, uncertainty gnawing at the pit of his stomach. Meanwhile, Jenna and Alex exchanged glances, their smiles growing wider with a sinister delight. They were aware of the lurking danger in these woods, but they saw this as an opportunity, a horrifying game within a game. The woodsman had always been drawn to challenges that tested his victim's courage, and now, unwittingly, Michael had become a pawn in their twisted scheme. As the seconds ticked away, Michael's unease grew with each passing moment. The darkness enveloped him, suffocating and disorienting. He couldn't help but wonder what lurked just beyond his sight, lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce. Was it the legendary woodsman? Or was it something even more malevolent? His heart pounded in his chest, echoing in his ears like a war drum. He tried to steady his breathing, to quell the rising panic that threatened to consume him whole. But the forest seemed to have a pulse of its own, a macabre rhythm that synchronized with his fear. Suddenly, a sound pierced through the silence, a whisper, barely audible but unmistakable. Michael froze, his skin prickling with unease. It whispered his name, soft and chilling, like a breath of icy wind on a winter's night. He fought against every instinct screaming at him to rip off the blindfold and run back to safety. Instead, he took an uncertain step forward, guided by a mixture of curiosity and dread. The whispered call grew louder, beckoning him deeper into the heart of the woods, its insidious allure impossible to resist. The ground beneath his feet became uneven and treacherous, the forest floor covered in fallen branches and decaying leaves. Each step he took felt like a dance with death, as if with each passing moment he was surrendering himself more fully to the clutches of the woodsman. A sudden gust of wind sent a shiver down his spine, and he could swear he heard laughter echoing through the trees. Panic surged within him, threatening to consume his rationality. He fought to keep his mind steady, to hold on to the flickering flame of hope that whispered maybe he could make it out alive. But just as quickly as fear engulfed him, so did determination. Michael refused to be another victim in the woodsman's twisted game. With every ounce of resolve he could summon, he forced himself to take another step forward, his heart pounding in his chest. He couldn't let fear paralyze him, not now. Michael had to find a way to outsmart his tormentors and make it back to his friends alive. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the whispers grew louder, clawing at the edges of his sanity. Shadows danced around him, their elongated forms flickering in the moonlight. The woodsman's presence lingered in the air, a foul stench that made his stomach churn. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from behind him. Michael spun around, his heart skipping a beat. He strained his eyes against the darkness, desperately searching for any sign of danger. His palms grew clammy as he realized he was not alone. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice wavering slightly. The only response was silence. Michael's breath quickened as he took a cautious step backward, away from the source of the noise. Then, from the depths of the trees, emerged a figure, tall and menacing. The moonlight caught the glint of a blade in their hand, confirming Michael's worst fears. It was the woodsman. In that moment, Michael's instinct for survival kicked into overdrive. He had to think fast, find a way to escape the clutches of this sadistic killer. With a surge of adrenaline, he turned and bolted through the forest, his heart pounding in his ears. Behind him, he could hear the woodsman giving chase, closing in with every passing second. Michael dodged branches and leapt over fallen trees, his body moving on pure instinct. His mind raced, searching for any advantage he could find. As he sprinted through the dense underbrush, Michael's eyes caught a glimmer of moonlight reflecting off something metallic ahead. With a burst of hope, he changed direction and veered towards it. The glimmer grew brighter as he neared, a small stream cutting through the heart of the forest. Without hesitation, Michael dove into the icy water, the shock of the cold surging through his veins. He felt the current tugging at him, threatening to pull him under, but he fought against it with every ounce of strength he had left. The woodsman's heavy footsteps approached the edge of the stream, his enraged growls carrying through the night air. Michael had to think quickly. He knew he couldn't outrun the woodsman forever. He needed a plan, a way to turn the tables on his pursuer. As he submerged himself in the chilling water, an idea began to form in his mind. With all his might, he swam downstream, allowing the current to carry him away from his relentless hunter. The woodsman's angry shouts faded into the distance as Michael ventured deeper into the woods. He emerged from the stream onto a small patch of land surrounded by towering trees. Catching his breath, he took in his surroundings and realized he was standing in a clearing, the heart of the woodsman's territory. It was a place rumored to be cursed, a forbidden ground where only the brave or foolish dared to tread. Michael's heart raced as he glanced around, searching for any sign of his friends or a potential escape route. But to his dismay, there was no trace of Olivia, Jenna, or Alex. They were nowhere to be found. Panic gripped him once again, but he had come too far to let fear consume him now. Determined, Michael decided to venture deeper into the clearing in search of answers. As he cautiously stepped forward, the ground beneath him began to tremble. Startled, Michael stumbled back, watching in disbelief as the earth split open before his eyes. A vast chasm yawned open, revealing a staircase leading downward into darkness. It seemed as though the very forest itself wanted him to descend into its depths. Intrigued and yet apprehensive, Michael made a choice. With every step he took down the staircase, the air grew colder and heavier. The darkness swallowed him whole, the only source of light being the dim glow emanating from his own trembling hands. Step by step, Michael descended into the abyss, each footfall echoing through the cavernous space. The air became thick with an otherworldly energy, causing a static charge to tingle on his skin. A sense of foreboding settled in his chest, but he pressed on. As he reached the bottom of the staircase, he found himself in a vast underground chamber, illuminated by flickering torches lining the walls. The eerie glow danced across ancient drawings etched into the stone, depicting scenes of unspeakable horror and suffering. Michael's heart pounded in his ears as he surveyed his surroundings. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he had stumbled upon something beyond comprehension, a place where nightmares took form. In the center of the chamber stood a grotesque statue carved from obsidian, an embodiment of the woodsman himself. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, seeming to watch Michael's every move. A cold breeze swept through the chamber, causing the torches to flicker and casting strange shadows on the walls. With a gulp, Michael approached the statue cautiously. He could feel a strange energy emanating from it, a palpable malevolence that made his skin crawl. As he reached out to touch it, a voice echoed in his mind, deep and haunting. "Welcome, Michael," the voice whispered, its tone dripping with derision. "You have entered a realm beyond your understanding, the woodsman's domain." Michael's hand shook as he withdrew it, his heart pounding in his chest. "Who are you?" he managed to stammer. The voice chuckled darkly. "Call me the Guardian of Shadows," it replied. "I am the one who watches over these woods and ensures that those who enter never leave." A surge of anger coursed through Michael's veins, overpowering his fear. "You won't keep me here," he declared, his voice filled with defiance. "I will find a way out of this place, and I will save my friends." The Guardian of Shadows laughed, a sound that sent chills down Michael's spine. "Bold words, but you underestimate the power of the woodsman and the darkness that resides within this realm," it said. "Your fate is sealed, just like all those who have come before you." Michael clenched his fists, refusing to be deterred. He knew he had to remain focused, even in the face of unimaginable horrors. "If there's one thing I've learned," he said, his voice steady, "it's that darkness can always be defeated by light." As if in response to his words, a faint glimmer of light appeared from the corner of the chamber. Michael's gaze shifted towards it, hope stirring within him. He cautiously approached the source of the light and discovered a small lantern nestled among ancient artifacts. The lantern emanated a soft, warm glow that seemed to push back the encroaching darkness. Without hesitation, Michael picked up the lantern and held it high, illuminating the chamber. The Guardian of Shadows recoiled at the sight, its form flickering in the light. A low growl escaped its throat as it tried to retreat into the shadows. Michael felt a surge of newfound confidence. The lantern was his ticket out of this nightmarish realm. With each step he took, the light grew brighter, dispelling the lingering darkness and casting long shadows against the walls. As he moved deeper into the chamber, he noticed a mural on the farthest wall, a depiction of the woodsman trapped in an eternal struggle with an ethereal being of pure light. The figures were locked in combat, their forms twisting and intertwining, locked in an eternal battle for dominance. An idea sparked within Michael's mind. If he could harness the power of light against the woodsman and the darkness that consumed Whispering Woods, perhaps he could find a way to defeat the malevolent force that held sway over this cursed realm. With newfound determination, Michael raised the lantern high and focused his thoughts on the mural before him. He channeled every ounce of courage and conviction, willing the light to push back the darkness and banish the woodsman from their midst. To his amazement, the mural began to shimmer and glow, its colors vibrant and alive. The figures of the woodsman and the ethereal being seemed to come to life before his very eyes, locked in a timeless struggle for the soul of Whispering Woods. A surge of energy pulsed through the chamber, causing the ground to tremble and the walls to shake. The Guardian of Shadows let out a howl of rage, its form flickering and fading as the light enveloped it. In a blinding flash of brilliance, the darkness receded, driven back by the overwhelming power of light. The chamber filled with an ethereal glow, illuminating every corner and crevice with a radiant warmth that banished all traces of fear and despair. As the light faded, Michael found himself standing in the center of the clearing once more, surrounded by the towering trees of Whispering Woods. The air was crisp and clean, the scent of pine filling his nostrils. In the distance, he could hear the sounds of birds chirping and leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. It was as if the forest itself had been reborn, cleansed of the darkness that had plagued it for so long. With a sense of awe and wonder, Michael made his way back to the campsite, his heart filled with hope and gratitude. As he emerged from the woods, he found Olivia, Jenna, and Alex waiting for him, their faces etched with relief and concern. "We thought we lost you," Olivia said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We heard screams coming from the forest, and we feared the worst." Michael smiled, a sense of peace washing over him. "I'm okay," he said, his voice steady. "I found a way to defeat the woodsman and bring light back to Whispering Woods." As he recounted his harrowing journey into the depths of the forest, his friends listened in awe and disbelief. They had been through so much together, and now they stood on the brink of a new beginning, a chance to leave the darkness behind and embrace the light. Together, they packed up their belongings and prepared to leave Whispering Woods behind, their hearts filled with hope and determination. As they ventured back into the world beyond the forest, they knew that their bond would forever be strengthened by the trials they had faced and the darkness they had overcome. And as they looked back at the towering trees of Whispering Woods, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united in the light of friendship and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. In the heart of the dense, shadowy woods lay an idyllic camping ground where the whispers of leaves danced with the howls of the wind. 4 friends, Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake, ventured into the wilderness seeking solace from the hustle of modern life. Little did they know, their peaceful retreat would soon transform into a nightmare they could never escape. As the setting sun painted the sky in hues of vermilion and gold, Sarah gazed at their cozy campsite nestled amidst towering pines. The crackling fire cast flickering shadows on the nearby tents, creating an eerie ambience that sent a shiver down her spine. Unbeknownst to them, a hidden evil lurked in those woods, a malevolent force that had long awaited its chance to unleash chaos upon unsuspecting souls. As darkness began to seep through the thick foliage, Sarah noticed a peculiar stone placed prominently at the center of the campfire circle. Intrigued yet cautious, she picked it up, feeling its cold weight in her hands. The moment her fingers made contact with the stone's rough surface, a sudden gust of wind stirred around them, extinguishing the fire in an instant. Panic seized the group as they were plunged into darkness, their only source of light now gone. Emily's voice trembled as she whispered, "What just happened?" Before anyone had a chance to respond, a bone-chilling laughter erupted from the depths of the forest. It was a haunting sound that echoed through the trees, freezing their blood and paralyzing them with fear. The laughter grew louder and closer, as if the source of it was drawing nearer to their campsite. Mark, the brave soul of the group, took a step forward, his eyes scanning the surrounding darkness. "We need to find another source of light," he said, his voice filled with determination. "We can't stay here in the dark." Jake nodded in agreement, his face pale but resolved. "There's a lantern in my backpack," he said, his voice quivering slightly. "I'll grab it." As Jake fumbled through his bag, desperately searching for the lantern, Sarah's gaze fell upon the peculiar stone she had found. It glowed faintly in the moonlight, emitting an otherworldly radiance that both fascinated and terrified her. With a surge of bravery, Sarah extended her hand towards the stone, her fingers trembling as they made contact once again. As Sarah touched the stone, a surge of warmth coursed through her body, casting away the chilling fear that had consumed them all. The stone pulsed with a soft ethereal light, illuminating their surroundings and revealing the sinister presence lurking within the woods. Suddenly, the laughter ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. The friends exchanged anxious glances, their hearts pounding in their chests. They knew that their peaceful retreat had now turned into a battle for survival. With the lantern finally in hand, Jake stepped forward and ignited its flame. The gentle glow danced on his face, casting long shadows across the forest floor. As the light expanded, it revealed a twisted figure lurking just beyond the trees. It was a tall and gaunt figure, draped in tattered robes that seemed to blend with the darkness itself. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural luminescence, fixated on the friends with a hunger that sent a shiver down their spines. The air grew heavy with an oppressive energy as the figure took a step forward, its movements slow and deliberate. Sarah's voice trembled as she spoke, her words barely above a whisper. "What is that thing?" Before anyone could answer, the figure let out a low, guttural growl. The sound echoed through the woods, causing the trees to rustle in response. It was a primal sound of warning, a clear message that they were trespassing in its domain. Mark, ever the protector, tightened his grip on a nearby branch, ready to defend his friends if necessary. "We need to stick together," he said, his voice filled with both determination and fear. "Whatever that thing is, we can't let it divide us." Emily nodded, her eyes wide with terror but her spirit unyielding. "Agreed," she said, her voice steady. "We stay together. We fight together." With their resolve solidified, the friends formed a tight circle, their eyes never leaving the approaching figure. Its presence seemed to warp the very air around them, sending tendrils of malevolence creeping into their hearts. As it drew closer, the figure's features became more distinct: sunken cheeks, twisted grin, and elongated bony fingers that reached out for them. But amidst the horror, Sarah noticed something else, a glimmer of sadness in its haunted eyes. "We don't have to fight," Sarah whispered, her voice filled with empathy rather than fear. "Maybe it wants something. Maybe it's been trapped here for centuries." The figure paused in its advance, seemingly taken aback by Sarah's words. Its growl softened into a mournful whimper, as if longing for release from its eternal prison. Mark hesitated, his grip on the branch loosening ever so slightly. "Do you really think we can free it?" he asked, his voice laced with uncertainty. Sarah looked into the figure's eyes, seeing a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. "We won't know until we try," she said, her voice steady with determination. With cautious steps, Sarah approached the figure, extending her hand as a gesture of peace. The figure hesitated, its glowing eyes flickering with a mix of fear and longing. Slowly, it reached out its bony hand towards Sarah's outstretched palm. As their fingertips made contact, an energy surged between them, a powerful connection that transcended words and fear. The figure's form began to waver and distort, its tattered robes dissolving like mist in the wind. In its place stood a young woman, her expression filled with both gratitude and sorrow. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have freed me from this torment." The friends watched in awe as the young woman's essence dissolved into the air, carried away by a gentle breeze. The oppressive energy that had once hung heavy in the air lifted, leaving behind a sense of tranquility. The forest seemed to sigh in relief, as if it too had been freed from the grip of darkness. Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake stood there, their hearts still racing, but now filled with a newfound sense of triumph. They had not only survived the nightmare that had befallen them, but also helped a tormented soul find peace. As they took in the serene surroundings of the woods, Sarah couldn't help but feel a deep connection to the young woman they had encountered. She wondered about her tragic past and how she became trapped in this haunted place for so long. But she knew that some stories were meant to remain mysteries. With cautious steps, they returned to their campsite, each carrying a sense of gratitude for their survival. The fire was rekindled, its warm glow illuminating the darkness that had once engulfed them. Together, they sat around the crackling fire, sharing tales of their harrowing experience and reflecting on the power of compassion and bravery. The night air was still, devoid of the malevolent presence that had plagued them earlier. The forest, once a place of eerie ambience and lurking evil, now exuded a sense of peace and harmony. As the hours passed, laughter replaced fear, and camaraderie strengthened their bond. They marveled at the resilience of the human spirit, finding solace in each other's company. Their shared ordeal had forever changed them, instilling within them a newfound appreciation for life's fragility and the importance of standing together in the face of darkness. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but the memory of that fateful night in the woods remained etched in their minds. They returned to their everyday lives with a newfound perspective, cherishing every moment and embracing the beauty that surrounded them. Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake knew that their encounter with the tormented soul in the woods was not just a random event. It was a reminder of the hidden magic and mysteries that lay within the world, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to venture into the unknown. Inspired by their experience, the friends began to explore more places shrouded in legends and folklore. They sought out forgotten ruins, explored ancient forests, and delved into the secrets of forgotten civilizations. Together, they formed a tight-knit group of adventurers, ready to uncover the stories that history had forgotten. Their journeys took them to distant lands, where they encountered mythical creatures, encountered ancient artifacts, and unraveled age-old mysteries. Each adventure brought them closer together, their bond growing stronger with every step taken into the unknown. But amidst the excitement and wonder of their explorations, Sarah couldn't help but feel a lingering sadness. She missed the presence of the young woman they had encountered in the haunted woods. She wondered about her past and wished she could have helped her find peace in a more tangible way. Sarah carried the weight of that unfinished business, a deep longing to understand the young woman's story and provide her with the closure she deserved. One day, while researching ancient legends at a dusty library, Sarah stumbled upon a faded book that caught her eye. Its worn pages spoke of a powerful artifact called the Heartstone, said to possess the ability to bridge the gap between realms and grant passage to lost souls. Intrigued, Sarah delved into its contents, hoping to find answers. As she read on, an idea began to form in her mind. What if they could locate the Heartstone and use its power to reunite with the tormented soul they had encountered? It was a risky endeavor, full of uncertainty and potential dangers, but Sarah knew that she couldn't ignore this chance to offer solace to someone who had suffered for so long. Determined to complete their mission, Sarah gathered her friends once again. Mark, Emily, and Jake listened intently as she shared her discovery and proposed their next great adventure. They were intrigued by the possibility of helping the tormented soul find peace and giving closure to their unfinished journey. Together, they embarked on a quest to find the Heartstone, traversing treacherous terrains and overcoming daunting obstacles. Their path led them through ancient ruins, across vast oceans, and into uncharted territories. Along the way, they encountered mythical creatures, tested their wits against cunning traps, and relied on each other's unwavering support. As their search neared its end, their anticipation grew. Sarah could feel her heart pounding in her chest as they entered the final chamber of a long-forgotten temple. There, resting atop an ornate pedestal, was the legendary Heartstone, pulsating with otherworldly energy. With caution and reverence, Sarah reached out to grasp the Heartstone. As her fingers made contact with the smooth surface, a surge of warmth coursed through her veins. The stone began to glow brightly, illuminating the chamber with its ethereal light. The air crackled with anticipation as Sarah lifted the Heartstone from its pedestal, cradling it gently in her hands. As the group gazed upon the Heartstone, a sense of trepidation mingled with hope. They knew that wielding such a powerful artifact came with great responsibility. It had the potential to heal and restore, but it could also bring about unintended consequences if not used wisely. Drawing upon their shared strength and unwavering determination, the friends formed a circle around Sarah. They closed their eyes and channeled their energy into a collective force, offering their support and trust in this pivotal moment. Guided by an inner intuition, Sarah focused her mind on the tormented soul they had encountered in the haunted woods. She conjured vivid memories of their encounter, the sadness in the figure's eyes, the longing for release, and the unspoken words left unsaid. With a deep breath, Sarah unleashed the power of the Heartstone. A brilliant beam of light shot forth from the stone, reaching towards the heavens and creating a shimmering portal. The few friends watched in awe as the portal expanded, revealing a swirling vortex of energy. Without hesitation, Sarah stepped forward, holding the Heartstone high above her head. She felt a rush of adrenaline and determination coursing through her veins as she entered the portal, her friends following close behind. As they emerged on the other side, they found themselves in a realm unlike anything they had ever seen. An ethereal landscape stretched out before them, filled with vibrant colors and otherworldly beauty. They could sense the presence of unseen beings and hear whispers carried by gentle breezes. Guided by an instinctive force, they walked further into this mysterious realm, their steps echoing in harmony with each other. The air tingled with anticipation as they approached a towering structure bathed in golden light. At the heart of the structure stood the tormented soul they had encountered in the haunted woods, an ethereal figure bathed in radiant light, its features softened by a sense of peace and serenity. As Sarah and her friends approached, the figure turned to greet them, its eyes shimmering with gratitude and recognition. "You have come," the figure spoke, its voice a melodic echo that reverberated through the air. "I have waited for this moment, for the chance to thank you and to bid you farewell." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat as she gazed upon the figure, overwhelmed by the beauty and tranquility that emanated from its presence. She knew that their journey had led them here, to this sacred place where the boundaries between realms blurred and souls found solace. With a sense of reverence, Sarah extended the heartstone towards the figure, offering it as a token of their gratitude and goodwill. The figure reached out, its hands enveloping the stone with a gentle touch. "Thank you," the figure whispered, its voice filled with a sense of closure and acceptance. "With this gift, I can finally find peace and transcend the chains that bound me to this realm." As the figure held the heartstone aloft, a radiant glow enveloped its form, illuminating the surrounding landscape with a dazzling display of light. Sarah and her friends watched in awe as the figure ascended into the heavens, carried by a wave of ethereal energy. In that moment, they knew that they had fulfilled their purpose, that they had helped a lost soul find its way home. As they stood in the presence of the departing figure, a profound sense of fulfillment washed over them, filling their hearts with a deep sense of peace and contentment. With the figure's departure, the realm began to fade, its vibrant colors blending into the infinite expanse of the cosmos. Sarah and her friends found themselves standing at the edge of the forest, the familiar sights and sounds of their world welcoming them back. As they looked upon the haunted woods one last time, they knew that their journey had come to an end, that they had embarked on an adventure filled with danger and uncertainty, but also with courage and compassion. Together they made their way out of the forest, their hearts lighter and their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they had made a difference in the life of a lost soul. As they ventured back into the world, they carried with them the memory of their encounter, a reminder of the power of friendship, empathy, and the indomitable human spirit. And though their adventure had come to an end, they knew that their bond would endure, a testament to the enduring strength of those who dared to venture into the unknown and emerge forever changed.